Hello friends, it's Teacher Angela here. I wanted to share some mock class tips that I've kind of gathered over time, helping so many referrals. Thank you to those of you who send me your feedback after your mock classes. With all of that feedback, I've been able to really refine the tips that have helped a lot of people pass. And I figure I would share those with other people. A lot of these are tips that are not in my other mock videos. These are things that I have learned since, or things that I left out that are important, that should probably be there. So here are 7 tips to help you pass your mock class, whether it's your mock 1 or your mock 2. I will let you know within each tip how to apply it to either beginner level or intermediate level if it's relevant. But get ready to take notes on these. Are you ready? Tip number 1, the most important thing that you must do in your mock class is stick to the objectives. This is so important. This is the most important thing. The objectives are what you're supposed to be teaching in this lesson. The words they're supposed to learn, the phonics that they're supposed to learn, the content of the lesson is what's most important. So some problems that I hear about when people don't stick to the objectives are related to time management and speaking in complete sentences. They get caught up in the introduction, they get caught up in the review, trying to get these kids to do every single picture, every single piece, say every single thing in a complete sentence, correcting everything. And then they don't have enough time to get to the objectives, and that will hurt you. So in the introduction, try to get them to say their name, try to get them to say their age. If they don't really understand, if they're not getting it, say, great, move on. You need to get to those objectives. And you need to make sure that you know the objectives well. I have some people say they're ready to Skype with me, or they sent me a recording to look over and they're getting it wrong. They're not saying the sentences correctly. So study those. One really useful tip that so many people say makes a big difference is to put the objectives or any tips on a little sticky note and stick it on your computer around the screen and have an objective on each one. I am from China. Whatever the objective is for the lesson you're doing, put it on your screen and don't forget the objectives. The second tip is to speak slowly. A lot of people will come back to me and say, the mentor acted like they couldn't even understand me. They didn't even respond. They didn't do anything that I wanted them to do. And the first thing I think is they probably spoke too fast. In real life, with a student, if they aren't responding to me, it's because I'm speaking too fast, 99% of the time. Think about it. When you are hearing someone speak a language you don't know, are you able to tell when one word ends and the next one starts? It just all sounds like sounds meshed together. You don't know what word is which, right? Which word is which? You don't know. You don't know the words, right? This is the same thing. These kids don't know. When you're saying a sentence like, wow, good job, Angela, you get a tooth for a reward. They have no idea if you just said one word, or if you said 2 words, or if you said 20 words. They don't know. They don't know these words. So you need to say slow. And that's also where the dictating on your fingers comes in handy. My name is Angela. They know you said 4 words and they've heard the distinction between the words. That's why this is important. Some people are like, do I have to do that silly finger counting thing that I see on YouTube? Do I have to talk slow like that? Yeah, think about the nature of this job. You have to put yourself in the student's shoes to fully appreciate how slowly you need to speak and how important it is to use TPR, to talk on your fingers, to clap the syllables, right? To do this so they know it's their turn, to do this to draw attention to what you're saying and what you're going to expect them to say. My name is Angela. They watched my mouth. They watched how the words were formed. They know that it was 4 words, and I'm going to do this. My Okay, slow, use your fingers, put yourself in their shoes. That's tip number 2. So speak slowly, put yourself in their shoes. Go listen to a video on YouTube of another language and you'll know exactly what I mean. Tip number 3, be engaging. Energy matters. These kids are sitting in their own homes, surrounded by their own toys. A lot of them are young. You need to be engaging. Your voice needs to be up and down, not monotone. Okay, what sound does M make? That is boring as F to listen to, right? No kid is going to want to sit and listen to Bueller, you can't act like this. If if you want to teach for VIPKid. Now, you don't have to be the Energizer Bunny. You can be yourself. In fact, there's more than 30,000 teachers. There are a lot of different teaching styles, and there are, over 200,000 students, and counting every single day. So it's okay to hone in on your own teaching style. You don't have to be an Energizer Bunny, but you need to harness some energy. You seriously do. Again, put yourself in their shoes. If you're learning another language, what kind of teacher do you want? You want one that's energetic and, and active with you. Be active with your students. Feed off their energy. Your energy will give them energy and get them engaged in the lesson. So you need to be engaging. Tip number 4 is extend. This is more applicable to the intermediate level students. And I'll give you some examples that will apply to that mock class and that I do with my actual students. And I teach a lot of regulars. In fact, every week I pretty much have the same students in the same slot. So I know them really well. And so I'm able to ask them personal questions. How was dance? Today is Monday, right? Did you have math class? I have one student. We're in the unit about exercise. She hates exercise. And it's so funny because we're reading about Mike is an athlete. He does triathlons. And then her reward would be like, you get a scoop of ice cream. It's really funny. I like exercise. That's what I got my degree in. But anyway, get to know your students. If you know they don't like exercise and you're teaching a lesson about exercise, be prepared to make it funny for them or, make it fun because they're not super interested in the subject matter. So make sure that they're coming first. You still want them to learn. So if they like you, they're still going to be engaged even if they don't like the content. So as far as this pertains to the mock lessons, mock 1, my country, my culture. In your introduction, which is done on the first slide, as is the reward system. A lot of people don't know that. There is no reward slide for the My Country, My Culture Mock 1 lesson. You introduce the reward system on the intro slide. And this intro is for an intermediate student. So they're probably going to say, my name is. You're not going to have to correct that. After you find out their name and their age and how they're doing, you can ask, why are you happy? I ask that all the time. They'll be like, I'm happy. I'll say, why are you happy today? And they'll say, I played with my friend today. Or a lot of times they'll try to tell me and they'll butcher the sentence. They won't conjugate properly. A few days ago, I taught a darling girl. I teach her and her twin, so it's fun. And she was saying, today I going to the store. That's what she told me. And I buy cookies. That's what she said. And so I said, oh, I love cookies. I went to the store. She loved that she learned how to say what she actually wanted to say in English. That's cool, right? We all want to learn cool phrases and words in another language, right? That's important. I think that's super important for these lessons. Get to know them and teach them how to say things that they're interested in right then. Of course, the subjects are really important and the content vocabulary in the lessons are important, but get to know them and let them walk away with something that they can go tell someone that day. They're not necessarily going to be like, hey friend, I see a corner in my neighborhood, right? Or they're not going to go up to their friend and be like, my country is China. The Chinese flag represents China. Give them something that they can go away and tell their friends, right? And that's also going to sell VIPKid a little bit, right? Get more people to sign up, which is good for you, good for us all. So extend on the introduction, extend on the represent slide. There are a lot of McDonald's in China. You can ask them when you're asking about McDonald's. Do you eat at McDonald's? Yeah, me too. I love fries. Fries. I could show them a picture of fries. Yeah, good. When you get to the part about landmarks, have you been to the Great Wall? Wow. Have you seen the Yellow Mountains? Cool. Great. Extend. Tip number 5. This is another super important one. This should probably be number 2 or number 1. Number 2, objectives are most important. Number 2, we're out of order, is be flexible. If these students said everything perfectly and behaved perfectly, they wouldn't need a teacher, right? They wouldn't need us if they could say everything perfectly. So they're going to make mistakes and they're going to act like kids. Your mock mentors are pretending to be these kids. So many people come to me and be like, I didn't expect that they were going to scribble all over the screen. And I didn't expect that they were going to grab a toy and start playing with it. These mentors are good actors and actresses. They're going to emulate an actual student really well. So you need to be flexible. So many people go into these mock classes and have studied each slide, exactly what they're going to say, exactly what the student's going to say, exactly how they're going to correct them, but they're not ready for them to act like a kid. That's why one of the prerequisites is experience with kids. You need to know what you're getting yourself into here. Kids will be kids. So once they realize they can draw on the screen, you should see their eyes sometimes when it's their first lesson and you get them to draw and then they start drawing. That's kind of funny, but it's also a distraction. So you need to know how to handle these kids. You need to be flexible. You need to be prepared that they might get bored and they might start doing this. What are you going to do? How are you going to get their attention? What if they start scribbling all over the screen? What are you going to do? Think about it. So that's my tip, is you need to come up with some way, some backup plan if things kind of derail a little bit. If that kid starts getting distracted, what are you going to do? I might make a loud noise and pretend my monkey's eating me. Help! Josh, help! It's ridiculous, but you're getting their attention back, right? That happens a lot. What if they scribble all over the screen? I'll actually tell you the opposite problem. Most of them don't figure out easily that they can draw on the screen. I use scribbling to teach them how to draw on the screen. I do this with a lot of my trial students, and it works really well. Sometimes on the trial lessons, we have to teach them to draw a circle, and they will do it with their finger. They don't realize that their mouse, when they click and hold down, will draw on the screen. They don't realize that. So if we say draw a circle, or sometimes I use iPads, so I use my finger, draw a circle, and they're gonna put their hand in the air and do that. No, draw a circle on the screen. I'll hold up an iPad, draw a circle, and they don't get it. So then I kind of just scribble all over the screen. You draw, right? And I get kind of aggressive, draw, and I scribble, and they're kind of surprised, and then they kind of smile and scribble, and it's hilarious, and we have fun. And then I'll say, okay, stop. Teacher, draw. Okay, you stop. Okay, when you say stop, don't be abrupt. I'll say stop. No drawing yet. No drawing. That's what I'll do. So if they start scribbling, you can say, Jerry, stop. No drawing, and clear it. And if they keep scribbling, take away a reward. You can say, uh-oh, ice cream, no ice cream. Take it away. You can tell them that. Listen to the teacher. Listen. Watch the teacher. Remind them. Listen. Watch. Speak English. Okay? Those are the rules. Those are the class rules. So, be flexible. Have some tools in your teaching toolbox of how to deal with students who will get distracted, not pay attention, not follow directions, go rogue. Another problem a lot of applicants find themselves doing is only having the student repeat or only having them read. And they ask the questions that are written, but nothing else. So you need to test their knowledge. This is tip number 6, test their knowledge. And especially on the intermediate level, they might know some of the information already, or they might act totally clueless. Don't just go through a slide and read and have them repeat after you and assume that they learned anything. They might have repeated and read and click, and that's it. They didn't retain anything. Remember, they're learning a new language. They're not just learning what a flag is. They're learning how to say this in English. So again, put yourself in their shoes. If this was you learning a new language, and maybe you don't know Chinese, most of us don't. You're on the slide and you see in Chinese, this is the American flag. The American flag stands for America. If you read that one time in Chinese because you're learning Chinese, and then moved on, are you going to remember? Are you going to remember all those words? You might not remember all those words, but the important thing was flag. So it's okay to say, what is a flag? Or what do you see? After they first see the Chinese flag, once they get to the American flag slide, you can say, Jerry, what do you see? What is this? Ask them on that second one. The first flag, the Chinese flag on the intermediate level, that can be a learning one. Use the next one to test them. Did they actually learn flag? You can ask them, what is this? What do you see? You can circle it. Yeah, the American flag. Then you can ask them, what does the American flag represent? Yeah. The American flag represents America. The American flag makes you think of America. You can hold up a globe or something. right? Right? Test their knowledge. And I do this on the landmark slide as well. When we get to landmarks, I test their knowledge, not about represent. When we get to the landmarks, after we go through and read, what is a landmark? Make sure they can pronounce it. We read the slide, and then I'll say, what landmarks do you see? They'll be able to identify some of them. And they'll say, I see the Great Wall. And before anything, I'll say, who built the Great Wall? Or the Yellow Mountains. Maybe they'll identify something natural, which would be great. If they say, I see the Yellow Mountains, I would say, who built the Yellow Mountains? That might throw them off. And this is your opportunity to teach natural. The Yellow Mountains are natural. Nobody made the Yellow Mountains. The Yellow Mountains are natural. Who made the Great Wall? Who built the Great Wall? People built the Great Wall. It's not natural, right? So you're having a conversation with them, okay? Test their knowledge. Okay, my last tip for you is remember that this is a flipped classroom model. That means that these students usually have had exposure to this material and they're going through it with you so that you can listen to their fluency and pronunciation. VIPKid is a very thorough educational program. VIPKid has a very thorough curriculum. The students have textbooks and they review videos before and after the lesson. And the purpose of our lessons are really to analyze their fluency and pronunciation and help them speak on that native level to really get their English down without an accent, right? To get all those sounds and phonics in. So I think about that every time I have a lesson. They're kind of doing this as a review and they're kind of doing this for fun. Remember, this isn't their school. This is an extracurricular activity. This is like if you and your kids signed up online for some English lesson, they're going to sit in your kitchen and do it, right? You want them to have fun and like doing it, especially because you're paying money for that, right? This is no public school program. This is a top-notch language learning program. So you want to get your money's worth and you want your kid, you want it to work. You want it to work, right? You want your kid to learn that language. They want their kids to learn this language. So remember that that is the goal. Get them to speak those complete sentences. Listen. Get them to say those sounds correct. In your mock classes and interview, they are intentionally going to mess up with phonics. When you are trying to get them to say, I don't know, the sound, they might say instead, right? They're going to mess up. And it's so natural for us to assume we heard it wrong and to keep going. Do not let anything slide. Even if you don't have time to fully try, even if you don't have time to fully get them to say it correctly in that moment, try a few times, take note of it in the chat box, and then in a real lesson, you would leave that in the parent feedback. One more tip that's actually not about teaching, but will look good in your mock classes is if you are earnest and you are eager. So I tell a lot of people who are asking me questions, I'll answer your questions, but write them down and ask your mentor. Ask them about the stars. Ask about the chat box. Am I allowed to type in the chat box? You have to be a good teacher to become a mentor. So they're good teachers. Ask them. Ask them for tips. They're there to help you get the job. That's another thing. The mentors do not make the final decision if you get hired. VIPKid does. Headquarters does. So they're not gonna, the mentors themselves don't say, this person doesn't get hired. They don't make the decision. So use them as what they're called, a mentor. Ask them, what else is a good question? Ask them how long they've been with the company. You can ask about the content of the mock first. Do it. It shows that you're earnest. If you're investing time preparing and asking questions and researching, that's going to look good because that's what makes a good teacher. So those are my mock class tips. Those will help you do better on your mock. If you don't have a referral teacher helping you out, it's also worth it to ask someone to help you out. A YouTuber like myself or several of the other ones are happy to work with applicants one-on-one and answer your specific questions. People send me recordings all the time. I'm happy to review your recording and send you feedback. I'm happy to give you other tips, answer other questions, whatever. Referral teachers are invested in you getting hired because yes, we get a bonus, but only if you get hired and only if you start teaching. We get nothing unless that happens. So we're invested in helping you and it's worth it for you. It's a win-win situation because you get hired and start teaching, get paid, and we get a bonus for helping you, which is great because it does take a lot of time. Anyone who's watching this video and has made it to the mock class knows that This is a pretty rigorous process. You have to spend a lot of time preparing if you want to get the job. So you can send an email to teachvip@vipkid.com.cn and add me as your referral teacher if you would like my additional personal coaching tips. I can watch a recording of you teach and give you feedback, look at your background and lighting if you want, answer any other questions you have. Send that email, say Angela Silva is my referral teacher, and give them my email address, which is below in the description of this video. Go click that little arrow, and my code is down there. And you'll need to include that, and please CC me on the email as well so I can keep my own records. So I hope this video was so helpful and gave you some more insight into kind of the process and the program and the expectations. Hope you nail your mock class. This is the greatest job in the entire world, so I hope you get it. If you have any questions, drop me a comment, send me an email, and I'm happy to answer it for you. Good luck and happy teaching!